Hello and welcome to another week of our recap here about Survivor on Crazy Hank TV. Were we even watching Survivor this week? What show was that?
I don't know. It's crazy. David couldn't handle it. He just set sail. He left. He got on a boat and
He's like, I'm out of here. I gotta go down. He's on a boat going there to ask them questions that we all have. Still trying to figure out how the whole time turning backs works, and
Yep.
Yeah. No, I hope David's having a good time.
Father son
time. So he's hanging out with his dad. So we're hoping they're having a great time, and he'll be back next week. So,
as the rumor has it,
allegedly, yeah. Last night's show was kind of like three parts. It was challenge reveal and
There was so much.
Camp beach scramble and
madness
and this what the heck are we doing tribal
mega madness.
Mega madness. So we probably
should a 20-minute recap so that we could keep track of like the abundance of challenges and twists and complications that the game has created for itself.
Yeah. Well, it's like we need a grid. It's like who has advantages, who has idols, who, right?
Yeah, I've had to hop onto like Survivor Wiki because it's like, where is everything?
Mm-hmm.
Where is everything? So,
and who knows of the people who have it? It's not just the people who have it; it's who knows who has what. Became super crucial this week, as people always say, and we've said here many times, don't tell people when you have advantages.
Don't do it. Keep it a secret. I mean, like you can tell us, you can tell the camera.
Right. Talk to us.
Don't tell people. And if I was on the island with you, future note, you can tell me.
I'm totally trustworthy.
You can tell me.
Like, I'm not going to tell no one.
No one's going to know.
But probably don't tell people. That's kind of bad. So they started off like right away at the beach,
right into the
challenge. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm just going to put this out there. I have a little beef with that because understandably per scheduling and episodes, I get it. But is it not a little bit frustrating that we didn't get to see 2 days of the merge? Like 2 days of these people merged together for the first time? Like
we got to see the beginning of that day with their reward and stuff. But not a lot. It was like so maybe not a full 2 days, but like definitely 18 hours we're missing. Or no, sorry. Like at least of a wake time.
At least. It's a little bit frustrating for me because I think a few of our blue team had some interesting moments happening during those 2 days because they haven't had to do much. I mean, they've had to win challenges, but
you guys,
look, He's coming to us from his set sail.
I'm on the 14th floor of the Mariner of the Seas by the miniature golf course.
Are you outside?
Seriously, yeah. There's the miniature golf course.
Oh, excellent.
That's great.
All right. We can get a sponsorship here.
We can't even leave you people on vacation.
So you were able to get signal and watch then?
Well, that's fun.
I did. I had to pay $2.99 on iTunes for it, but I did.
If there was ever an episode to buy, this was it.
This was the one.
Oh, so totally worth it.
So totally worth it. And look how many times you can enjoy it now. It's a good one to have there.
You might need to rewatch it just to figure it out again next week. I mean,
absolutely.
So much happens. So they go into the challenge straight off the bat. And they bring Erica in. It's like, hey guys, remember that really, really difficult challenge we made you do last week? Do you remember how hard that was? Do you remember all the cuts and bruises that you're still like trying to heal from? Breaking news, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And I mean, we'll get to
Danny
it.
was a little shitty about it.
He was not. I mean,
Yes.
he likes to have firm rules. These are the rules of the game. These are what we're playing by. He doesn't like it when people change the rules. I'm going to guess as a pro athlete, he probably thinks that that's a little hinky and sketchy and maybe even akin to cheatery. Really?
That's great.
Another sponsorship, 2 in 2 minutes. Fantastic.
That's right. But
so yeah,
I mean, he got pretty upset about it. But I really loved, Deshaun coming in and saying, "Hey, this is what we signed up for.
Jeff told us
this is what we're here for." So
it's going to be a new thing this year. So yeah,
exactly.
Expect the unexpected. Wait, wrong show.
But first,
but whatever. So yeah, so then there's I told you, I nailed it. They were going to have her in broad good daylight, good lighting for her to smash the black sand.
Yes.
And then the sand went everywhere. And then she spun around. She
and
turned
they
into
did it in slow motion sand crushing.
You saw the shards of glass bursting. Yeah,
it was really something. It was
yeah,
really
it was,
something.
It was.
It seems that the slow motion is no longer reserved for Ricard's bad shooting ability and meaningless.
No, it's for really important twist moments, so we can really take it in and.
So you have a moment, yeah, exactly, to think about the ramifications of what's going on.
You know what I love is that this girl is sitting on the island for 2 days with nothing to do but shiver and tend to fire, and she's like, "I really just want to smash this. I really need something to do. I really just want to smash this." I like to think that like they had 2 or 3 extra ones just in case they didn't get the shot.
You're probably not wrong. You're probably
you don't know what could happen.
You always have to have at least one in a spare, right? When it's for stuff like that, because that's like, what if the person is like getting off the boat and it gets, drops overboard? Now you can't even shoot. Ruined. Game's ruined.
You need to have it.
And
there.
Seriously, the hammer was like this big to break a piece of glass.
It was like a utility hammer, wasn't it? Like it's the kind you used to smash out like what, like drywall.
Thor was going to come down.
Let's be honest. Did she really need a hammer? She could have used any old rock laying on the beach. She did not need a hammer.
Yeah, I would like to just have a little beef with production right now. Is that I feel that they could, with all the amazing props that we have seen them make. From competitions and immunity idols and even down to like food trays, I feel like they could have had an hourglass that looked a little bit more like, sea-worn and beachy or something.
Oh.
And like you said, like she could have used a rock.
Right. Unless she gets to take the hammer and now they get to keep it. It's like something of their supply. She gets to take it back. And,
maybe.
I mean,
I doubt it. I bet you the second she smashed it, like the camera guy's like, "All right, and you need to hand that to me and like sign some paperwork." And
hey, David, JP's got a message for you there. King of the world, king of the world.
It's a rule.
Oh,
you're on the sea.
Always got a joke, Mr. Shecky over there. Yeah. Oh, whatever. It happened just like we thought it was going to happen. Oh,
yes.
See, no, he's
there
going to
it is. There it is.
And then everyone, they all just their jaws drop. All those safe people are no longer safe.
Yeah,
the other team was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!"
And like the side eye, there was like some side eye, like oh bleepity bleep.
Yeah. Too bad. So then,
but nobody seemed that mad at her. Was anybody mad at her? Nobody seemed that angry at her.
They probably. I'm sure that they.
I don't think they had time to edit it in, but I'm gonna guess there were some people that.
Danny was clearly a little bit salty about the whole thing, but let's be honest. At least now there's a legitimate reason to throw Erica's hat in the ring, other than like
you don't like her.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, there you go, Danny. It's given you something to stand on. So.
Right. Which is what he was looking for anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so then they do that challenge. And this is the challenge that always, like, you kind of go, like, who's going to be good at this? You have to be flexible, have to have good muscle control, stacking the 3 tiers of wooden timbers, and then placing the flag. Effie did awesome. I was so, like, gunning for her, right? And then Ricard, out of nowhere, gets those funky
boom,
feet
boom,
up
boom.
there.
Yep.
What? He was slow to get going, but then, boy, he
Sydney was holding her own. Like, they really were all 3 just.
Oh, that's right. We still have to talk about Sydney. Sorry.
She's still there.
Now, I gotta say that whole challenge was core, and I'm not a big Sydney fan, but she looked good doing it.
She had the muscles in the right places. Yes.
Well, she was wearing the right outfit.
She had it all. But it's crazy because yes, like, you see some great, like, I can grab this pole with my toes, no problem. But I don't know if you guys experienced this. When I was a kid, I could have done that challenge, like, no problem whatsoever. But now I so much as bend my feet and they cramp up like haggard little, like, I could never do it.
What's the average age of those guys, of the ones that were competing? Like, they're probably all, Danny might be the oldest out of that group that was competing. But I think I probably could have done that probably into my 30s, probably.
But the last 10 years has taken my foot game right out the window.
Well, women have.
I can do it.
Women have just biologically more flexible hips for doing that, of moving your foot or your leg that way. So this is a challenge that is made for ladies, I feel like. Because Danny, even though he's a pro athlete, did not look very nimble.
Well, and the reality is, it's not even so much of being able to crunch your body up. It's like you have to be able to crunch your body up, but then still move your feet on their own, like, pivot. So yeah, it's one of those, I think, that looks like a challenge where we go, I could probably do that, and then realize quickly, no.
And you know what? Here's the thing. Stacking the things, okay, maybe given enough time. Putting that flag up there in the middle without knocking anything down.
And having to get over the top of the ring.
Right. You just worked so hard just to get it all up there, and then,
And now there's another thing that I was thinking of when I was watching this challenge, is that we would occasionally get a camera pan over to those that didn't have to play, and we're watching them root people on by name. To me, and we've talked about this with Big Brother too, when we got people up on the wall, when it's a long challenge. I don't really see them ever talking about it in confessionals, but it's like you know that they have to be watching the people that are sitting out and listening to who they're cheering for. Because, so you're sitting there having to do all this with your feet, but then you're also catching someone that you maybe think you're good with, but they're cheering somebody else on.
I don't know if I would. I think I might be so in the zone, so focused, I might not hear.
This is why I wouldn't win a challenge, because I'd be like,
because you definitely don't win. That's why it makes me kind of annoyed when Jeff is always throwing those things out there and, like, literally talking to the people as they're doing the challenge.
Right.
Like, Jeff, shut up.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, really. You're going to say something to me. Say it at the very beginning of the challenge.
Talking about balls, Jeff.
Before I'm on the 3rd tier, because no. But
he just, like, every single challenge that there is a ball, he's just like, he's ready to tell someone that their ball's dropped. It's just like
he does. He gets very excited for
someone's got a handle of their balls, or someone's balls are dropping. It's really important for him. It's a highlight. It's a highlight of his experience.
You got to keep your balls under control. I mean, it's very important.
Number 1, number 2 rule of the game: trust no one. Know where your balls are
at all times.
At all times.
So Ricard gets out of that and gets it. And that was awesome. So that was good. I was
looking really nice. He's getting a nice tan. The idol looked the idol fit him perfectly. Looked good.
Sarah shared with us a Twitter feed that he's on Twitter. If anyone hasn't, the Ricard Twitter feed is pretty good.
It's good stuff.
And him and his mom. I wonder what she's going to say.
And also Nasir's wife is a fun follow also.
Is she? Okay. Well, shout outs for the fam.
Yes.
So then they get back to the beach, Danny gives his 2 cents. That's where we hear that. And then starts the who are they going to vote for, right? And oh my gosh.
Oh, but this person has this, and this person has this.
But then they can only use it with this, and you hope that you understand. You could tell that some of them were panicking, not being very positive, that they understood how Xander's would work, right?
Yeah. And I have to give credit to Tiffany at this point, because we've seen Tiffany when she sees an idol or an advantage that might come into play, and she loses her mind. Like, she just comes unraveled, and she was like, So
she's like that Kristen Wiig sketch where she has somebody has a secret she can't tell. Oh! She like crashes into the wall. She's like, "What's the secret?" So everyone scrambles around. This is where it gets really, really chaotic. So they first decide, the big power players, all of these guys that had their fortunes overturned by
the flipping
Erica, yeah.
The flipping, crashing of the sand, time makes no sense thing.
They immediately all say Evie. They're going to take out Evie because they have their 6 from their original tribe.
Right.
They believe they have Shan with them, so that makes 7. Mm-hmm. And they are not looking at Rick Hard as anybody that would be a threat, but they can't vote for him anyway. And he's also with Shan, so that means by kind of default he's with them as well, kind of right off limits. So
there's a convincing little block right there. Mm-hmm.
Ua, the tribe of 4, was that Ua? I might be wrong. That tribe that was just 4, one of them. Well, Leanne has already gone over to them, so that leaves those 3. It was pretty obvious why they were picking Evie.
Right. And on top of all of that, they had 2 reasons already in the back of their head to kind of point over at her. One, because she ratted everybody out about the they knew they could use that. Deshawn was able to use that as some sort of leverage to point over to Evie. And then also
Deshawn, man, he's a little devious.
Yeah, and Danny's like thing where he's like, there's an all women's alliance. There's going to be an all women's alliance.
Danny is so paranoid about the ladies. Danny, calm down.
Right.
Because I wish.
Danny, they don't work.
It doesn't have just cool your jets, buddy.
Don't worry.
Cool your jets.
So they go round and round trying to decide what they're going to do. And are they going to straight go for Xander? Because they do consider that. No. He's definitely got the idol. Well, we'll go after Evie. But then what if he gives her his idol? Well, then, so it's all over the place. But the other side, they decide that whatever, we're going to go after Deshawn. Why not?
It's like, why?
He seems pretty smart.
Why did you pick? But this is what I love too. It's like, why did you pick him? And then I think to myself, well, why did you sit there for a half hour last week picking the person that you think was going to go home, and you kept thinking it was going to be Deshawn? There's something there. There's a reason why. And I don't feel like anyone's given us a good explanation.
Well,
but there is something.
The only reason that I heard last night was them saying that Deshawn was playing a very good social game. So he must really be nice at camp, getting along with people and sharing stories or whatever kind of thing.
And he is willing to roll with the punches and the twists of the game. And you kind of have to. Like, you have to be. You can be uncomfortable, but you have to play comfortable.
He's not an emotional player.
Right.
See?
Yep.
He'll just be like, well, okay. He might be upset. We don't know. He's keeping that.
That's how
it down low. Yep. So that's good. So then we see, I don't know, the Tiffany and Xander and Evie. Evie was crying. They're trying to figure out some sort of plan. Then here comes Leanna. She thinks she's going to come over and be like super concerned about them. Like, oh my God, are you going to be okay?
And I mean,
we'll be.
What a blunder! Like, what a blunder on her part.
What a dumb move.
Yeah,
dumb.
It just. And okay, I'm just gonna have to say, because I mean, we're not there yet, but like, can we just like really
not her dumbest move, though. Not her dumbest move.
Right, but like
she gets dumber.
Erika is like, okay, like later Jeff's all like, how does it feel to be the person that caused all this, Erika? Well, okay, Erika's move sort of had something to do with it, but also like, I don't know, maybe Shan going, hey, did you get that reward? Like, did you get that advantage? What was it?
Yeah.
That's what caused this. Like,
I mean, it didn't help, right?
no. I mean, because even if they had flipped everything, I don't think that this like live tribal would have happened because that advantage really wouldn't be known. So the contemplations that they had to have on who they were going to send out would have been, well, we had Erica and that was an easy pick, but we can't do her now. So who's the next logical step? And that's about as far as it was going to go. This twist only turned into awesome sauce because two players really just went bleh and like messed it up.
Yeah. And sometimes that's what happens. And then everybody else that's on their little group of alliance members has to scramble to go, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Well done.
Well, I think we got to make 2 points. Liana played awful.
Yeah, she did.
Just, I mean,
socially,
and Xander,
with her advantage, everything.
Do you think that was because
Xander, who I had no respect for, played incredibly?
Amazing.
Yes, he did.
To the point where he said, "Don't use it at the end" because he figured out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He was so
And
reverse psychologying
God.
them so much, and then at the end he knew it. He could read them. So maybe we really have to give him another view because.
Okay, but there was like this really funny thing where it was like, no, Evie, you're fine. Don't use it, Tiffany. Tiffany, don't use it. Evie, you're fine. And then it was, I'm really sorry, Evie. I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
and then it was, I told you. Didn't I tell you?
Well, I mean, the idea at that moment, though, for them to let Evie make that decision, she's too emotional. She's going to say yes. The only person who could really read that situation correctly was, probably him and Tiffany, and it was not going to be Tiffany.
It was not going to be
Tiffany. How about Tiffany saying, "It's your idol. I'll do whatever you tell me."
I know. I
give her lots of props for that.
Kind of smart for her game, though. I mean, no backbone at all. Like no opinion. She's so just right, just cruising along. But yeah, that was not. That was.
So when they're setting all of this up,
nothing falls back on her, right?
When they were setting all of this up, I'm sure that you were going, okay, he's going to have to give the idol over to somebody else. That's what he's going to do. But who did you suspect that it was going to be Tiffany, or did you have somebody else in your mind?
I saw it coming a million miles away.
I thought it would be the smartest way because the only two people they think, well, Xander has the idol. He could give it to Evie. So those are the two people that Liliana could have asked point blank, do you have an idol?
Yes.
And you have a 50-50 shot if you give it to one of them. Giving it to Tiffany.
If they could have quietly flipped the votes onto Xander, that would have been a great move if they wouldn't have known, because Tiffany wouldn't have known who to play it for.
And she asks him point blank if he has one, and he says no. So, but that was after they voted, though. So, right?
Well, yes, it was after they voted, and okay, yeah.
Wait, guys, probably watched it just most recently.
Yeah, that part was before the vote.
No, she tried to take his idol before the vote.
Before the vote.
So everybody knew he didn't have one. But I guess they could have passed it when they,
But the great part about that is that like when he showed the fake idol, that part I did not see coming. So I knew he probably would hand it off to Tiffany. I had forgotten about his like fake idol creation day.
And then he's like, "Oh, give me the paper too, because it'll make it look more realistic."
Yes.
And he's there in tribal, like not patting his thigh or whatever, his pocket, like acting like letting them.
It was a little Jeffrey Tubin-ish, wasn't it? It's like he's sitting there, playing with something in his pants.
And I thought, oh my! That was when I thought he doesn't have it. And I wondered, oh, is he pushing it too far? Is he laying it on?
Is he really? But then they keep panning over to Tiffany, and there's like Tiffany going, like the whole time. Every time she's like.
And then we have a moment where they realize he's got the idol, right? And then they
and Liana she bit hook, line, and sinker on that. She's like all confident and arrogant.
Yes. And
Had
she
that
was a little bit,
balloon popped.
yeah, she was very, very arrogant about it. And man, did she like the second she realized she had been had, she was like, "Oh, well, nah, 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 nah."
It
And
was
then
just like,
Evie's like, "Nah, nah, nah,
you know what it
nah."
was like? It was just like when JD was like, money, and then missed. It was like that. It was kind of like that. So
I don't know. No, it's not.
But that was pretty amazing. Not only were they able to make her use it in a way that didn't help her on their defense, they also flushed it out. Like, she can't use it anymore. I mean, that's it. It's
Right?
done. They got her to use
clean
it.
sweep. He saved his idol.
That's what I'm saying. It was he kept his idol. He got her to blow his. He made her look foolish on national TV. And he played a fake idol.
And he got Deshawn to use his extra vote. So that got wasted.
That's gone. So my question,
and he ended up sending home his own alliance member. If he'd have laid both votes on Evie, she'd have gone home.
Yeah, so he saved his own folks.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think in that group that made up their little alliance? What do you think is going to happen? Is there going to be fallout? Are they going to be upset with each other? Are they going to be mad at Ileana? Are they going to? What do you think? Is Deshawn going to be upset that he had to use their vote? I mean,
I think that if anything, I think if you're talking about like Deshawn, Danny, Leanna, Shan, I think it's going to put Leanna towards the bottom. I think it'll definitely put her on the bottom runner of the 4 for right now.
Dude, and Shan, when she's all like, "Oh, we'll just know he has the idol," she's like, "Oh, so we could just know." She still didn't understand what was going on. So not only did Leanna show herself as not being very savvy or strategic, Shan showed herself again as not being very.
Well, Shan's game is coming down a little bit.
So those guys might be like, maybe we don't need these girls.
Okay, here's the thing. I really like her. I think that she has strategically in her head and sort of what she's talked about in her confessional. You could see that she has a smart path. Theoretically, she has a smart path drawn out of how she wants to do things. But I think right now, if we realistically look at few of the things that we've given her a little bit of credit for, some of those have really just happened at other people's mistakes. And really the biggest power she has is the fact that she ended up getting these, like, the people that are gone, she got their powers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But her tribe got dwindled down to nothing, and so they were the ones that were always getting TV time.
Mm-hmm.
So we were getting tons of TV time with her and Ricard. But now that this group has expanded and we're going to start doing individual, I think Shan's game is going to just kind of slowly go back into the background until she's gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, until the guys don't need her anymore or something, probably.
I think that might be a risk for her, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And
the other thing with Ileana was she absolutely showed her cards to the other 3 that she was with who she was with.
And she made an enemy. Absolutely made an enemy out of Evie.
So, it was just a total fail for her. And honestly, I don't know, unless she somehow has immunity next week.
She's my pick.
I think she might be. It would just be the easy vote. There'll be so many people that were like, "Oh yeah."
Right. Yeah, she's my obvious pick for going home.
Erica will say, as long as it's not me, I don't care.
Yeah.
Danny, let's vote out this girl. You're on board? Okay.
All right. Let's do it. I don't see it going well for her.
I see Danny and Deshawn teaming up with Ricard. I see that coming.
Yeah, that's a powerhouse.
Because the girls
right
didn't
there.
equate themselves very well, and he looks tough.
Well, and we're at the point in the game now where we start getting rid of the people that are physical threats, right? They're not bringing us any safety. Now we need to start getting rid of them. So what's the best way to not get voted out as a physical threat is that you have to have that meat shield in front of you. And whether Danny recognizes it or not, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
He's going to be the meat shield.
He'll go out at like 6 or 5 or 6, like probably.
Yeah, because they're going to keep him around because they're going to always need that bigger target. So Yeah,
He's going to win out from five into the final three. That's my prediction.
That's what you think?
I still think he has a
I think
really
they'll keep him around and then he'll win out.
The only thing that I think is really going to work against him, other than the fact that a lot of people may see him as a threat, is I think the real problem is going to be we haven't really got to see what Danny's social game is when you walk away from physical competitions. We've seen how he is in physical competitions. He's a great teammate. He roots people on. We
He's a
really
good team
admire.
captain.
Yeah, we admired him for that. But now when it's an individual game, the first time we actually got to see him sit down and even have the teeniest conversation on merge day when everybody should be kissing each other's butts on the outside.
And so many of those people,
getting salty.
And for 6 of those people, that was their first tribal ever. That's crazy.
Yeah, but he was getting a little rough around the edges with Evie and like, oh yeah, well, it looks like all the girls are staying. You know what?
But then
he's gotta just not stir the water a little bit.
This makes you wonder, if you go that long without ever going to tribal, does it then make you weaker mentally? Because you haven't had to scramble. So when you're almost at the stoplight, right? And then all of a sudden, okay, now I have to think.
Well, and you haven't really, I mean, obviously you have time to sit and observe your own tribe members and kind of pick up like who's good at this or who's the emotional person or,
but really nothing's really.
But you're not seeing how they're playing the game.
Well, and you can kind of see how people are getting along socially, but you don't know when push comes to shove, do they have each other's back? You can think so, but sometimes they don't. You never know.
Yeah, how many times do we hear at tribal, it's all like, if you feel safe, it could be you going home.
Right. Who are they really aligned with?
Clearly,
when people start voting, then you start really seeing who's with who.
Yes.
Clearly, Tiffany and Xander and Evie now, I think, are in a really tight alliance. When Evie admitted, I don't know that I'd give my idol to him. I think that solidified it, right? Yep. So those three are thick as thieves, and everyone knows it. So
right. Yeah. And no, do you think it would be best for them at this point to see that Erika's just sort of a sitting duck and that you need to maybe bring her in? Because if you see it all the time, the person that's left in the middle is the one who always flips the game, because what other choice do they have?
That is a wonderful point, because most of her team was on that, and she decided to flip them.
And they're going to be upset with her rightfully.
And they sent her to the island by herself, right?
Yeah.
So
this is the perfect time for them to swoop in,
grab
really
her.
like tell her what a great player she is. They've got her, get her indoctrinated. They need to bring her in and puff her up a little bit so that she forms a little loyalty with them.
Because I think it's easy to underestimate her, but she's no dummy.
No. But I also think that she's somebody that if you give her the opportunity to feel wanted or needed, that's the only way you're going to get her loyalty.
Yeah, part of the group. She wants to be.
I would put that another way. If you could give her a cool kids vibe, so she felt like she was in with the in crowd, which I think Xander can do in Evie. And man, she'll glom on them and will never leave.
Well, yeah, because she was like, they're finally talking to me. Her and Jeff had that little that moment where he's like, what do you think, Evie? Like everything you're saying, this is because what you did. And she's like, this is the first time people have included me in their decisions.
And I mean, her feelings, I think, were really hurt when she was sent off to the island.
Yeah. And I think she tried really hard to not have her feelings, but
it's super. How do you not feel rejected in that moment?
Right. Well, and it's so funny too, because Sydney is all like, oh, she'll be fine because she's like super upbeat and bubbly and she'll be okay. And I don't know, this is a life experience thing for me, because I know a lot of people who are bubbly and upbeat all the time, and guess what? They have the biggest feelings.
Oh yeah.
That's why they're always so bubbly and upbeat, because they don't want to bring anybody down. So.
And so I could totally see her absolutely responding to them being part of that group and being wanted, because she was her feelings were so hurt. I mean, she was on the island crying. She said she was on the island crying.
Right. And
because you're part of the team and they don't want you.
Yeah, and now she can survive the elements, and she can man a fire, and she's no little lamb.
And you know what? They probably shot themselves in the foot, right? with Evie. I'm sorry, with I keep saying Evie, with Erica, because they had decided weeks ago that if they had to go to tribal, it would be Erica. So I wonder if the rest of the tribe members kind of stopped trying with her. You start to become a little emotionally detached.
Yeah, well, and that's why you see so many people, like everybody's acting a little bit off. Like, I think I'm in trouble. So
it's normal. People start to detach. They're like, I don't want this to be a hard decision.
Right. And then when she got sent away for 2 days, and for 2 days, they didn't have her there around the campfire, tending fire or feeding or sharing rice or, like walking the beach or anything. She wasn't there. So like, there's no, she was going to go home before, she was going to go home after. Now she did something that none of them can say you did the wrong thing. There's not a single player on there that could disagree with her move. But now they lost, and the second she did it, the hardest part isn't the fact that they all had to compete all of a sudden for what they thought they'd already won. The hardest part is that they took something that is usually, it should have been so easy to get rid of one person on a merge.
Right.
No, I did feel bad. I did feel bad that I wished rain on her last week, and she didn't indeed get rained on one of the nights.
She got rained on all night long.
She was very, very moist.
She looked so sad, like just sitting there, like
miserable.
This is who I am now, sat here in the rain.
This is my life.
Just
Can Jeff
waiting
come back,
to break
please?
the thing.
Because if Jeff was there, they would have an umbrella. Just saying.
Yeah.
Well, there's some dude 20 feet away in a tent with a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not getting wet.
Right? I wonder if they all have like white shoes on, like Jeff had. Like just to rub it in. Like we're not.
They probably have this whole thing. Can you imagine? Like the camera guy, he's got like all this stuff, and you know how water pools and stuff, and they go to like turn or move, and the water flies out. She's probably like, "Great, thanks, really."
Just like splashes at her, like that. Like the old like Christmas like the Kris Kringle like stuffed animal commercials from the 80s, and the dog's like walking down the street, and that like splash of water comes on him, and he's all dripping, and he looks just so sad and alone.
Sad.
And
that was
poor Erica.
That was
like
Erica.
Just Christmas ruined.
Poor girl. This episode.
Actually, I think it ended up. I think it ended up being very good for her game because I think she's now a player. She got away from those folks that didn't want her.
Yes, and she learned to do the things that you need to do on an island with other people to make them not be mad at you. Like being able to tend fire constantly through rain. She kept that fire going through torrential rain. Just saying, that is not something that's easy to do.
Does anybody think she'd ever touched a hammer before that moment?
No.
She picked that thing up like she thought it was a snake.
But you know what? She used the one side to smash that time, and then she used the other side to claw her way back into the game. Because I'll tell you what, she has a strong foothold now. I think
she does. She does. And you can't blame the kid. I mean, no, she didn't really have to do anything to get this thing to spin around, but I mean, she had to go through a lot of feelings.
You may think that we'll have to see later on. Looking back with some distance, we might think that it was kind of gimmicky, but I thought it was super interesting because it really made everyone in the game have to pivot and scramble, and that is worth watching.
And at the end of the day, it was worth it because it causes enough of a change. And then along with like Shantz, like the mistake of blurting out, "Oh, what is your thing?" So those two powers combined, they were able to dump out all of these excess things that are getting in the way of the psychological part of this game that we all really enjoy. So get rid of a few of the powers. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
And we thought last week, these guys are going to make this big, strong alliance. Not that I'm against that alliance or any alliance for that matter, but if you have too strong of an alliance at this point, we know what will happen. People will start saying it's boring and whatever. But you don't know.
Right.
Everybody, even if you feel good in your alliance, you might be rethinking your alliance at this point, unless you're Tiffany and Xander and Evie.
Of course.
They're like just clawed onto each other, right? Oh, Heather, we forgot about Heather. Someone should grab up Heather too.
Did we really forget Heather? I mean,
it seems like Heather. Production has forgotten Heather.
Heather,
she'll have
Heather's
her moment.
Just there. Like,
how did she get on the show?
I don't know. She's got something. She's got something worthy of being there.
We'll see something other than her crying because
she didn't give up. She never gave up.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want that to be her only story, please.
No, I don't
either. Have something else. Yeah.
Okay, if Tiffany's only story is not going to be trying to get across the balance beam that literally everyone else, including Heather, got across just fine.
No, her story is all.
Then Heather's story
I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, the story of Heather cannot be the I tried my hardest and failed you. It cannot.
Yeah, no, it cannot.
No.
So
these ladies. So okay, I kind of wanted to bring up. We did get a little mention again with our little group that's starting to form where they were saying, okay, where we have Shant and Liana and Deshawn and Danny saying, we should form an all-black alliance. We should do this, I've just kind of been studying over it a little bit and then kind of reading what the Twitter is saying about it, some of the alumni, kind of just seeing if people think that these guys really have a chance being able to stick together in this alliance, given all of the dynamics of the game and all of these weird powers that we don't even know what else is coming out.
Right. There'll be something else next week. Believe it.
So you'll like this, Chrissy. So the fans have now dubbed it, since we had the cookout this summer, these guys are being dubbed the Camp Out Alliance.
Oh, I did hear that.
You see this? So
I heard it. Yeah.
There's a couple different theories that people have out of how they could possibly work their way until the final 6. There we go. I'm back.
Whoa, hey.
I'm back.
God's just there laughing, having a great time. You're frozen.
Oh no, there's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people playing miniature golf. Wave, guys. Hey.
So
we were playing midnight miniature golf, and then the guy came and closed it on them.
Oh no!
Fun haters.
Someone's got to sleep,
Get off my lawn.
It's only the fun shift till 9:42,
and then
it's sleepy time.
Go to bed.
So the group has to, and there's some comparisons, kind of, if you look at something like Big Brother, because it's the reality. They are not going to be able to hide this alliance in the same way that they could in Big Brother.
No,
there's no rooms, there's no separate events, there's no 3 months time. It's all boom, boom, boom. I mean, you have to show your cards. It's not secret votes. I mean, they're writing their votes down, but everybody is discussing it. Everyone knows who voted who. So, do you think that they have a chance? I mean, they have to have at least some chance, because otherwise alliances would never have worked on this show.
I just wonder if too many people are going to be savvy to it. You know what I mean? And once it's kind of out there, people start going, wait a minute. No, one of them has to go, because you have to start weakening it right away.
Yes. And if you look at okay, who are the people that could possibly, who are the people that could outwit or outlast? I mean, look at okay, we know Danny has just got force. He's going to be good in any sort of competition that involves strength and force, upper
or just straight up jumping. Yeah.
Right. But I think having Shant and Liana there for any endurance is risky for other people, because I think that they'd be really good at endurance. I also think that
that standing on the thing, who can stand there the longest. Yeah.
Right. And I thought Sydney would have been a major challenge.
Abby just showed us the core strength she's got.
Right.
Yeah.
Abby just showed us. She's got some core strength going on.
These endurance challenges almost always belong to the women. I mean, almost always. Not always, but almost always. I don't know. it's tough to say if they have the right. See, the thing is with the cookout is they had kind of the right people to cover every aspect of the game, to cover the alliance moving forward, and they always had a +1. Just the way the vote out system works on something like Big Brother worked in their favor, because they could always have somebody beside them and never go home. But this is an individual game. Even if you have an alliance, it's so individual.
Mm-hmm.
And the cookout, frankly, had people in it that didn't really like each other early on.
Right.
So the rest of the house are like, they couldn't be aligned because they can't stand each other.
It wouldn't make any sense. But now these guys are already kind of voting together, and so I don't know. I don't know if they are going to be the. I don't know if they're going to get to be the first Survivor all black, alliance that makes it to the end. Maybe, but I don't know. I know that it upsets Facebook, though.
Yes, it does.
Good old Facebook, just reliable.
Where is Nasser? Where is Nasser going to fit in all of this? Is he going to stay with them, or is he going to flop?
I think
his move is to flop.
Yeah, I think he's going to be.
I think he should flop. Mm-hmm. I think he should.
Yep.
Will he? He's a hard worker.
He's second from the bottom. Now he's the bottom.
I have a really hard time to believe he wouldn't.
He's hardworking. Is he also loyal? I just don't know how he falls there. Will Erica be able to convince him? Maybe that'll be something like that. But I hope
he's kind of the one that started this whole Erica thing, isn't he? Like, didn't he? Isn't he the one that kind of planted the seed of?
Yeah, I think he was.
We got to get rid of her because she's smart. and I'm sorry, I'm not saying that Erica isn't smart.
She might have been the most devious on their tribe, though.
But I'm like, is she?
She might have she could have had the Ricard mind over there, is what they were thinking. Like maybe things that she was saying, maybe they were like.
It's so funny because like on a game that we've already seen people like Ricard, it's like, I don't know, like.
Well, we've seen it, but maybe what
they were saying,
at camp, who knows? Maybe she was going through running down all her knowledge of Survivor at camp,
which is a big no. I have heard from the some of the winning alumni, like, you just don't talk about how much you love Survivor around camp. You just don't do it.
Maybe because she knew how to take care of the fire. Maybe Naseer thought that was threatening him because he had to be like the provider, the tree climber, the whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was his motivation there. I don't know.
So do you think that it's tough because everything was very close, but do you think that the right person went home for the larger portion of everyone else's game? I mean, was Sydney the best for them to go home out of Evie and Deshawn?
Well, it depends on which side you're rooting for. I mean, if you're kind of cheering for the Evie Xander faction, absolutely that worked.
I just can't.
Would Deshawn have been better? Maybe, but they'd have been angrier.
I don't understand who voted for Sydney that didn't vote for Deshawn. Do you know what I mean? Like, who was splitting that vote? They were voting out their own?
Deshawn had 2 votes, but used one on Evie and one on Sydney.
Right. Okay. So there's 2 there, but like.
I am so confused on the votes because there was it seemed like there was an extra vote. But I think the extra vote, I think that we thought, I could be wrong. I think that we thought Erica couldn't vote. And I believe that Sydney, because I read her exit interview today.
She did her dice tower.
Right, but she lost
she couldn't vote. Right, she lost
her vote. But if I read it again.
There were 11 votes and 10 people, I think.
I think that she thought Erica could not vote, but Erica could vote. I think that's where Sydney was like, I shouldn't have used my dice because I thought Erica couldn't vote. So she's like, I thought I had maybe a better chance.
I mean, either way, it was like, what, 50-50 chance at that point? Wasn't that what it is?
It's like 16, it's like a 16%
1 in
chance.
6.
It's really, it's
1 in 6.
Yeah, because remember the brain surgeon was like, this is what it actually is, and everybody's like, you're gone. Because doing math on the island is threatening.
You know how to do math. You know how to math, and I don't.
You're out of here.
Because there's a lot of math on the island, so that would be super.
There's all sorts of number crunching. That's what they do.
That's what if you're not good at math, keep around the human calculator for a little bit, and then get.
There's nothing to do when you're sitting there except for all the camera guys' taxes.
You have all that sand. You can literally just do figures in the sand and figure it out.
It's true. It's like a giant writing thing. Most children have figured this out. Right. So,
didn't Boston Rob do that? Didn't he set up the alliances on sand and was?
Yeah, he made his little plane, his little
why a vote had to go that way.
Yep. Now, one of the reasons why I was kind of wondering about, was Sydney necessarily the better choice? I'm not saying she was a bad choice. Is because we didn't get to see it very much. But again, this came from just reading the exit interviews. Her and Tiffany, where we thought they would be just they would be oil and water. We just thought that they were going to be awful together because of the one little moment that we got with the two of them at their midnight thing or whatever, and
sneak away.
She's you're playing too hard.
Right.
Actually, Sydney said, her favorite time on the entire show was the last night she was there, when they merged and getting to know Tiffany, and they just laughed and laughed and laughed, and how much she loved Tiffany, and she wished Tiffany would have been on her tribe from the beginning. And so
wow.
The two that we thought would maybe be a nightmare together actually. So that's what I mean. So we've got, I think that Xander, Tiffany, Evie would have had Sydney there. I think Sydney would have been theirs. For sure.
I just can't believe. So they have this situation, right, where they're trying to figure it out, right? They're trying to figure out, we have to split the vote. We can't put all the votes on Evie in case they play the idol. Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. But why not peel off of Evie altogether? Or maybe not. But why didn't other people who had planned to vote for Evie and now see that you have to split the vote and then see that the other people are going after Deshaun? I'm saying a random person. Deshaun's not your alliance member.
Right.
Why don't you go, I'd rather him go. Why didn't Heather go, Deshaun? Sounds good.
Yeah, because they did this whole we have to split. Well, I think it's because they still weren't entirely sure.
I can't believe
who was holding idols.
Of the split, I can't believe they thought all the people who voted for Sydney voted for Sydney, if that makes sense. I would have thought one of them would have gone no, Deshaun, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. But they stuck, I guess. And I think because it was so chaotic, and I guess this tribal council, it's actually it's 2.5 hours long. So this madness was not going for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes.
See, this is the perfect time when they need to put the extended tribal council on their CBS, on their app. Let us watch the whole thing. Why not? I get it. Yeah. You have to edit it down for time. Even though we were at 7:35, we got 25-minute tribal. You knew something crazy was happening.
Right. And there's I guess, again, you can watch it and you can be very comfortable with I'm comfortable just knowing everything that I was just shown. I don't need to dig any deeper.
No, but
sometimes it is really interesting when you realize, I didn't realize until this morning that Sydney and Tiffany were getting along so well. And I'm now I'm really bummed out that I kind of missed.
Think of all the footage that ended up on the floor, right?
Yes. There would have been. That would have been great. They would have been a mean team, especially if they were able to get anywhere close to Ricard. It would have been, it'd have been insane.
Yeah, CBS is always trying to get more subscribers to their streaming service. So that's one of the things that they do with the Big Brother Live.
I would love to see what we didn't see.
Why not do more Survivor?
Yep. Yeah. I think it would be great. Is
all of it going to be interesting? No. Is all of the live feeds interesting? No. So, I don't know.
It would be neat to see a little bit more of that. And I think people are kind of getting to kind of see how the sausage is made. And, you're getting to see little bits of the cameramen walking through.
Yeah. And I like when they do it and it kind of looks like Jeff's doing a confessional. It's kind of the handy cam or whatever they've got going. I like the way they're shooting that this year, where you kind of feel like you're more in the mix.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's really
breaking fun. That fourth wall and talking to us like he does at the end, the live finale.
Right. Even though it cracks me up because I know that there's no way he's doing this in one take as the tribes are coming in.
No. Yeah, no, probably not.
I just want to see how many times they were told to go back to the starting point.
But
I will walk on in again, guys.
Some of the changes that
maybe they did it with a green screen.
Yeah, right?
Oh, maybe that's what it was. But some of the changes that they've made, or some of the additions this season, changes they've made to how that they shoot things, I think have been really interesting. Because, yeah, the format does get a little stale. And not that you have to throw the whole format away, but, you know, adding the slow-mo or doing different things, or how they're shooting things where it's not always chronological. We got to Tribal, and then we got to see what happened before Tribal. Like that.
Right. That was cool. They let it be a kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
I like it too. I would like the Naseer. Like, we didn't know Naseer had an idol going into that Tribal until we got to go, boom, flashback. Right, this is what happened. Those kind of things are fun. Like, I love when they can have, even though most of us would go, okay, well, it only seems that Tiffany's probably going to be the one holding the idol for Xander because it just sort of makes sense. None of us really knew for sure because it didn't show that part. But what we didn't see was the whole fake idol thing. And then we got the flashback of what led to that. And that was great.
Yeah.
Like, I got to hand it to the editing team. Like, that made this story last night, like, just meatier and more fulfilling. And I really...
Because it was really, there was some back and forth, right? You know, this person and that, it was great. And they're still continuing this thing where you're blindsided at Tribal, your plans change, and everybody has to get up and play musical chairs and run around. And I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful or if it's not.
So
it wasn't helpful for Sydney.
No, it wasn't. And to anybody who is watching, I would seriously suggest, if you get a chance to read any exit interview from anybody who in this entire, anybody, I don't care who it is, if you get to read one exit interview, it's got to be Sydney's. You got to check out any exit interview she does with whoever the writer is. Just stop what you're doing and go read.
I hope all of the other players.
A little goodbye at the end. Oh my God.
Okay, so it's but the funny thing is,
my life is 900,000
times better. My dad can beat up your dad.
And then she like jumps in the ocean and like Poseidon comes out and he's like, I'm her dad.
But it was just she says, I don't care if it's immature. Yeah, it was really immature. Because
you have to read these interviews. It's so
because she made it sound like I have a family that loves me, and so therefore what I have going on in the real world is way better than what any of them. Do you think nobody that's on the game has a family member who loves them? Really?
Right. Well, and this is what's okay. So, like,
so silly.
When I was reading today, she was, and it's great because, like, literally every other word is like retracted because she cusses like constantly. Like she is a cusser, and so I'm laughing reading this.
So much screen time.
I'm cracking up. I'm like, how hard was it for them to get like a cuss-free
Tribal out of her?
Oh my gosh! So
I wrote
she's talking about kind of talking about how like she just didn't really, there was nobody in her tribe that she really got along with, so she just spent a lot of time in the water because she's just liked being away from everybody. She was more comfortable kind of away from everybody. So when she started doing the fishing, she really was the provider for their tribe. Like she's the one who fed all of them. She said the first 3 or 4 nights, like Danny didn't eat anything because he has a really bad gag reflex. So he can't eat coconut and he wouldn't eat the fruit. Like he didn't like the fruit. It was making him gag. So he was having a really hard time. So she did all of his fishing.
Fruit was making him gag.
Yeah. So she was the one bringing fish in for these like big guys to like eat. So she really was working hard in her tribe as far as physical work goes.
Well, she's using that as the mask. Game right. She's using that providing and fishing as the mask for I don't really like the tribe.
I don't like
and hoping that will be have enough weight of its own.
Right. And she's like, and it's great because she starts like this whole interview out with, I'm a narcissist, obviously.
Oh, you know what? I think No, see, there you go. She's not, because no actual narcissist
would ever admit that they were a narcissist, right?
I mean, that's true. And because therapists will tell you the hardest customers or hardest clients to ever have are narcissists, because you literally cannot get them to admit it, so that you can actually work on it. They will never say that there's nothing
wrong with them. But yeah, she can give herself, a little bit, of heck for little things. But yeah, she is a character. I don't know. I understand why she was the one to go, but and it's not because she was my winner's pick, because really she was a shot in the dark for me for my winner's pick. She was like the dark horse,
I mean, she looks strong.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I think the key for her,
she was entertaining for me.
She should have been.
I loved what a snot she was. I would not have loved living with it, but I loved watching it.
If you can get her together with Anna Maria or whatever, they might really hit it off. Right.
That's a good
one. But yeah, I think for her wake up call should have been probably the fact that she didn't like really hanging out with anyone in her tribe. Yeah. She should have immediately gone like, hey, they probably don't like hanging out with me either, and therefore I'm going to be on the chopping block. In which case, I'm going to go with that other side and plot against my friends.
Right. Friends. My friends. But she had literally stopped carrying so much that this is what I was talking about, and that challenge that they had, the biggest, hardest challenge, and she's walking around in a dress, basically texting with an imaginary phone, her island phone. It's what? She's not doing anything.
You said she really hit it off with Tiffany, so I think it was a missed opportunity for her not to go to Tiff and work with them. Because she could have been another vote on Deshawn, and that would have saved her too.
Well, and I think it's hard for her because a big, an immaturity level, obviously.
Oh no, she played her thing.
But you have casting puts together people that are going to create interesting stories. So that means putting you in with people that are not like you, or maybe you're not going to necessarily get along with, or you're going to have to change the way you think in order to work with them.
You have to be adaptable.
Right. And some people just don't if they're uncomfortable around people, they don't try to change themselves or adapt to it, or be a chameleon. They just don't have anything to do with them. And
they're just a bunch of Red Formans looking at everybody going.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
What are you gonna do?
I never would have compared those two, Sydney and Red Foreman, but it works.
It's kind of like that. Okay, so right now I have really. I can add this up real quick. If you guys have something to say, what else have this
added up some points?
I'm gonna try.
I am wondering. They're going to bring in another challenge or twist, or right? There's going to be another. We've got at least one more coming.
Oh yeah, there's going to be.
Oh, I think there's
37 advantages unveiled next week.
I don't know, because they've come up with some really interesting things, but there's been something every week, right? More or less.
Right. And I've got to say, do you think that Xander was so relieved to be we had to say really stupid things, and then it made this idol activate? I'm not crazy. I didn't mean those.
I'm not crazy. You're crazy.
There was some really fun Halloween costumes that were out there. Somebody dressed as a broccoli tree.
I'm with him. I
feel good Survivor themed Halloween costumes out there on the internet this year that were pretty cute.
I've literally been saying my whole life that broccoli's just baby trees. So I was right there with them.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you tell your kids, right? You're a dinosaur, eat the tree.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I love broccoli. It's delicious.
It's some good stuff.
All right. So should we take a look at our
let's see what we got.
So this was week 7. And once again, Jamie Jo had to make up another login because our fantasy just does not want to recognize you.
No, it doesn't. I have a strange energy. I'm like the character in Fargo, and doors don't open for automatic doors don't. That's me.
And it's seriously not fair because Mercury retrograde is over, and this should just stop. So
just
please,
it's just who I am.
So you now have 3 different logins, and I have to add all 3 together. And I know that if I dug a little deeper, you have more than this, but I can't figure out how much. Wait, I can't figure it out. I think it would be like
you could have pulled into second place.
No, I think you might. I think you have an extra 110 points that I'm not factoring in. Okay, in which case you have now moved ahead of me. So we have my sister Kelly Griffin still in the lead. Kelly, I don't know.
Kelly.
I don't know if you're like.
That's because Gabe is helping her.
I will have to say the reason that they're not on tonight. I tried to bump them. They were not able to watch last night because of some other things that conflicted. They were going to try and watch it actually while they were cooking supper tonight, because that's
a lot.
Yeah, she was cooking and she said maybe if I can get it in. So I'm it's such a show. Like, how is she gonna? Last night's episode is not an episode you can watch while you're making supper.
No, just send us the email next week. We'll get it.
Yeah. So and then
Gabe's still my dude.
Yes. Mandy's in second place. Maggie's in third. JP from NJ, 4th place. Then we got
cheating, recount.
Ro is in 5th, and I think Jamie, that goes you. I think that would be you, and then me, and then Randy, and then Mr. David Gott, which, I mean.
Did I get any points this week?
The actual point total was 70 points. That's the same that I got. So you didn't gain on me, but 70 points was like, because seriously, if you just gone like none, it was really hard last night. That was not an easy week to predict.
Right.
Then Maddie, after David comes Maddie, and oh my gosh, every time Butternickles is.
Go Butternickles, go.
Carol. It won't open up for me. I gotta look this up and see who that is. Guys, it makes it so much easier if you just use your name or initials or something.
We have to know.
Gosh. So we can give you full credit, right? Full marks.
Yeah.
But that's where we're sitting at this week. We'll see what happens. Maybe next week the site will recognize Jamie. She can make her picks, and we can figure it out.
We'll see what weird things are happening.
I even tried to see if I could go in and like edit it for you, but apparently I can't cheat for anyone.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. It just is a thing.
Right.
It's the thing that is the thing.
Sorry. So, all right. Well, how many more nights you got out on the sea?
Just one more after tonight. So we get back Saturday morning. It was just a quick 4-night cruise.
Hey, but it's nice to come home on a weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I like having that day.
Monday, so.
Yeah, it's nice having that day to kind of acclimate back in. So,
assuming his dad doesn't have things he wants to do on the mainland before they leave.
That's true.
Dad drove his own car to the port, so literally,
he'd be like, "Ciao, Dad."
Put his luggage in his trunk and be like, "Hasta la vista, Dad."
Yeah.
Later,
he goes towards Orlando, and I go south.
That's nice. It's a good solid parting of ways.
And then you're gonna be home already on Saturday, back in the abode.
I'll be home by like 11 a.m.
Nice, fantastic. And then get to kick out all weekend. Just put their feet up some more, because not enough relaxing on the boat, I'm sure.
No, that's
you
not
need to
happen.
have like a good
you just
day.
got off a 4-day cruise, so you need to do this.
Shoot, you're right.
Before you go back to work.
You're right.
That's what Sundays are for.
Oh, and it's my wedding anniversary Saturday too.
Oh, nope, you're gonna have to do stuff. Sorry.
Well, that makes it easy. Just take her out for a nice supper.
There you go. Or make her a nice supper.
Probably gonna. And seeing that I know she doesn't watch the show, I can say this. I am so proud of myself. I set a reminder, so when I was driving to the port, it went off, and I called the flower shop and I sent flowers.
Yes.
Good idea. And don't forget, you can still hit duty free, right?
Oh yeah.
So hit duty free and bring yourself.
I'll give her the gift of cigarettes and booze.
Well,
honey, I got you smokes and booze.
I don't know. Duty free don't you duty free usually have perfume?
I'm sure.
I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of days in my past that getting some smokes and booze, I'd be like, "Yep, that's
Circa
great."
1995.
Yep, certainly.
Yeah. All right. Well, anybody else got anything coming up?
No, we got the kids scheduled for their vaccinations on the 17th. We still have to wait another 2 weeks, but they'll be vaccinated by Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
And I have my booster tomorrow, and I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
Are you sending them back to school in January?
I got pretty roughed up with my second shot, so I'm a little bit
worried. This is going to be easy. This is going to be easy. Just keep telling yourself that.
You know what? I got a snuggly blanket. I got plenty of soup and ibuprofen. I'm just going to muscle through it because that's what we do.
Get a nice book. Just cuddle up, relax.
Yep. I've got an ice pack. I've got a heating pack. We're good. Awesome. I got all of the things. That's what I got to do. So, but yeah, then the kids will be good. And I was going to send the kids back. That was initially the plan, but they both have decided that rather than jumping into the middle of the school year, and they'd rather just maybe go for some events during the summer and then start in the spring. So they're doing great at home. I mean, their grades are.
Oh, I was ready to send mine back when I was.
Oh, I will tell you, there's days I'm ready, but they are doing really well. But now they get the chance to go and do more things, and it'll be good.
Absolutely. All right, and just a little friendly reminder, don't forget this weekend, you can be just like Erica and turn back time Saturday night, Sunday morning.
Turn back time, which is good because Scott's going to need an extra hour.
Extra hour of sleep, extra hour of anniversary time.
There you go.
All right.
I'll be channeling my inner Cher.
Right?
Turning back time.
Do you have to do the Wonder Woman thing to do that, though? Do you like spin around?
Oh, yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
I'm saying yes.
I can. I'm sitting.
All righty, guys. Well, I think that's it, unless anybody else has anything else. No?
Nope. That's the lot. Until next.
I just forgot. I do have one thing, and I'll tell you guys next week. My daughter got to do a musical theater thing today with the cast of Hamilton that was here in town. So I have to go find out from her how that went. Yeah,
that's exciting.
I mean, it's the traveling
next week.
But it was super awesome.
That's still pretty awesome.
I got to go find out how that went for her. So anyway, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you here next week. Come subscribe to us, like us, comment. I was looking for comments, no comments, but let's do it. Come on, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.